Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing. In today's episode, we're going to teach you how to be effective defending and countering in mid-range. Staying nice and long, you're very safe. In the clinch, most of the times you're safer, but that head-to-head range is the most dangerous range, so learn how to defend and counter more effectively. Being able to catch punches in mid-range is a very important concept because it's the most dangerous zone in fighting. So if Matt and I are fighting or sparring, if I'm out long, this is long range, I'm safe. I can't hit my opponent and my opponent can't hit me, right? So if I'm in here, I'm also safe from getting hits unless your opponent's good in the clinch with his knees and his elbows. But that danger range is staying in here. This is the head-to-head range. When you hear people saying sitting in the pocket, this is that mid-range. Some people call it the danger zones, mid-range. Some people call it with different zones. Whatever you and your team call it, if I'm being able to hit my opponent or touch him and he's able to touch me, that is mid-range. And this range is dangerous because I can get hit and hurt. So especially if I'm attacking and I get lazy with my hands down, that's when the counters can come, so you gotta stay tight. So the most important thing in this range is to be able to defend. So when you do this type of head-to-head drilling, you need to make sure you and your opponents don't move your feet. You're focusing on this range. If I keep moving and circling, it's not practicing in this head-to-head. So what we're gonna do is, in order to gain comfort in this zone, you have to practice on very simple combinations back and forth. So for example, Matt and I might start with a jab cross and then we'll build from there, but we go back and forth because that's what happens in this range. So I'll start and then Matt can follow. You can see we're not backing up, we're only staying in range. Using a shell, or I can use my parry, but I'm not getting pushed back, I'm not getting hit. And even when Matt hits me, if you can see my back foot, I brace myself. This is what I call my kickstand, because if Matt gets aggressive and keeps coming forward, I might get pushed backwards, and that's when I get caught on my heels and can get knocked out, okay? So boom, I plant myself because I'm not going backwards. I'm gonna dominate the mid-range, okay? Then we could move into something like a 1, 2, 3, or whatever set combinations you, your team, your coaches, your training partners want to do. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. If you need to learn this defense in mid-range, I did a defense series back earlier on in the channel. Go back, watch the different types of defense. But the main one for head-to-head, which I really like for kickboxing, is the shell and the parry. Head movement is okay, but you got to remember, in this range, we got knees, we got kicks to the head. It's a little bit more dangerous in kickboxing, okay? So 1, 2, 3, back and forth without moving. Okay. Now, once you're comfortable defending in that range, that is when you want to build in the counters. All right, so I'm going to give you subtle changes. We're going to focus on the shell mostly to get inside, attack the body, okay? So when the jab comes, I can jab, cross. You can see how I slightly turn my body. I don't want to stay square this way because it's really hard to defend and it can push me back. I want to be able to, what they say, roll with the punches. It takes away a lot of that power. If you stand here sometimes and they're just teeing off your guard, even hitting through the guard can shake your head and cause some damage. So I want to slightly roll with the punches. So jab, as I roll, you see here, as I turn on the hook now, the hook comes, I block the hook, which now loads up the shoulder. So as I block that hook, it loads up my hand and I could really tack the body. This is why this video is on defending and countering on mid-range. So Matt's gonna throw a hard 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna make sure I slightly roll with the punches so that I defend that hook and I can grind that left hook to the body. Again, and I could attack. When you get better, you could continue to add or maybe double up, create your own combinations from in here, okay? Okay, so that's setting up the left hand. I can do the same thing using the 1, 2. So as the 1, 2, I load up this shoulder now. This way I can come back with a hard uppercut. I can come back with a right straight. So Matt goes 1, 2, boom, I can shoot my straight. 1, 2, mix an uppercut. 1, 2, boom, hit the body if I want. Okay, so you're using that mid-range punch in order to set up your shoulders and your body to be able to power punch. Watch from this view here. 1, right, I can defend the jab, the cross, boom, counter. If it's a jab, cross, hook, jab, cross, hook, I defend off the hook, and I can counter, jab, boom, okay? You gotta use that shoulders to defend and set up the counter. Okay, one of my favorite drills, we're gonna put Matt in the body shell, and I'm gonna show you how you crack those punches with full intensity. Just like we started before, you can start very simple, very basic, and I like to use the simple combinations that your fighters like to use or your opponents will throw at you. The classic 1, 2 or the 1, 2, 3, okay? And with your style, it doesn't have to be bazooka style that you do. I'm just gonna show you it because that's what I know. But you can add your own flair, your own touch to it, and your own team style. So right now we'll start with a 1, 2. The 1, 2 comes. 1, I come back and I attack the body, and then Matt comes with a 1, 2, 3, and then I come off and I attack with that one. So we're alternating between the 1, 2 and the 1, 2, 3, which gives you the option to practice turning the shoulders to be able to get the power shot. One of the biggest mistakes you see people make is when they block punches, they stay with their shoulders really stiff. 1, 2, 3. Now when they want to attack the body, they have to either just use their arms or they have to waste that time in order to turn the shoulder to load up the power shot. So you might as well defend, turn into it, save the time, and get right into power punching. The whole concept of this in mid-range is you're here to hit, you're here to get power, you're here to lay your opponent out. Okay, so 1, 2, defend, counter. 1, 2, 3, defend off with the left hand. Shoulder movement to get that power is key. And you can see even when I'm hitting, I'm using my legs here to get that power. You could also mix knees because they have that body shell on. Okay? 1, 2, counter. 1, 2, 3, counter as well. Three, 2, 3. Being comfortable in mid-range is a very important concept when it comes to fighting. It's the danger zone. So when you train and you drill, you have to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations so when you're in the fight, you can really excel when you get there. So first things first, being able to defend punches in that range. Use your shell, use the parry, go back and watch the 4-part defensive series that I put up. It's really important that you stable yourself, stay grounded, and that's where a lot of success in my career came. A lot of fighters wanted to move. I embraced that pressure. I embraced that head-to-head fight. Now, when you're in range, you have to be able to counter well. So when I'm blocking, I'm really using that body, rolling with the punches, and it sets up the counter so beautiful. Defending the hook, loading up your body position to get power is important. If I sit here, block this one, then I try to throw a counter punch, I need to do it with power. Use proper mechanics to get the best power. That's how you get the knockouts. Okay? Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing with your friends. Hit that bell. This way you can learn these videos before your opponent does.